Judge and Commissioners, this is the program that was started last year. It's a reentry program. As you know, we've been expanding our programs with inmates to try to keep the recidivism down, plus give them opportunities once they get out. And joining in with One CommunityUSA and with Workforce Solutions and other things, I think we're on the right track in doing that. I would like to introduce Ian Fuhrer, who is the CEO of One CommunityUSA, and he has some short little information on stats that we've had during the year, and then what he's anticipating for the future, and then maybe he can answer any questions for you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Good morning. I can give some stats if you like, or if you'd rather just ask me questions, however you prefer.
Yeah, so Commissioners, you'll remember we had this exact presentation last year. So I guess the only question I have, do we have any data and is it possible to track data that shows success?
Yeah, so I can give you data of what we've done inside the facility, right? Where it gets really hard is once they're outside to track them. So our program actually consists of a piece inside the jail and outside the jails. The inside, my team, they're all either retired police or veterans or both, they visit the facility weekly to meet with any of the inmates that are potentially eligible to do our week-long pre-release reentry class. We then do that class 6 times a year. It's roughly every 8 weeks. The reason for the timing is because it's about how long it takes for enough of the population that we work with to turn over. So we have enough new people. We don't think there's any reason to do the class twice. The class is focused very little. It's 22 one-hour lessons over the course of Monday through Thursday. Very little of it is focused on practical information. For example, my background was in finance. I teach the finance class. That's 2 of the 22 hours. Most of it is really helping people understand why are they there. What we tell them is, yes, yes, you did something to get here, but fundamentally, how did you get in that position? So it's really going back and exploring trauma, understanding why they do the things they do. To do that, of those 22 lessons, in Rockwall, we typically bring in about 10 outside subject matter expert volunteer instructors to teach those lessons. So we have psychiatrists, we have leaders of other nonprofits, for example, Bridges to Life, which is in 200 prisons around the world. So that if they leave the jail here and they go to prison, they understand how to continue with that. We have former inmates as well that'll teach, folks that we've worked with that have done our class inside and outside that are now doing well. One's a veteran, one's a civilian. We don't bring them in, they teach remotely. So those are the types of things that we teach inside. When they come out, and we tell them in order to participate in a class, it's voluntary. We don't allow anyone, which is a little bit different than most reentry programs that you may come across, we don't allow anyone to be required to do our program. Often diversion courts will offer something like this to folks for a specific benefit. We don't want that. We want someone that's at the point where they want to be different because they want it, not because their parents, children, spouse, judge made them do it. We know there's a better understanding of the information and a better success, not only for those folks, but for if someone doesn't want to be there, they become disruptive to the people that do want to be there. So we require that. We then tell them when they come out, please reach out to us on the outside, but we are here to help. We have lots of resources, but we are not going to come find you. Partly we can't, right? But we're not going to come find you. You need to reach out to us. Typically what we find across all the facilities that we work in is about 10% of the people that we work with inside will then follow up with us on the outside. Once they do that, we call it an 18-month program because that's originally how it was designed. The truth is it's not really 18 months. It goes on. We have folks who have been with us for 3, 4, 5 years. It's become more of a mentorship program than a structured program, because typically when people come out, they may not have transportation to get to the same place as everybody. They may have jobs that require them to work in the evenings, so they can't do that. So really what's become is almost more, if you think of it like an Alcoholics Anonymous sponsor. My guys are available 24 hours a day. If someone calls them at midnight on Sunday and, hey, I found myself with the wrong people in the wrong place, please either talk me out of it or come get me, my folks are doing that. So the how you measure success is a little bit difficult, right? The main thing is, do we see these people again, Right? Rockwall is very fortunate that typically approximately 80% of the people that are in your jail are not from Rockwall. So when they leave, they're typically not coming back anyway. But we're working with the jail staff to start to look at now how many of the folks that we specifically worked with have come back to this facility. It's also really difficult to aggregate recidivism data across different facilities in different counties. Ideally, we'd like to have one ID number for anyone that ever is incarcerated so we can see, did they show up anywhere else? But that doesn't exist. So it's just a difficult thing to measure accurately. And I don't think you should believe anybody's recidivism numbers because they're all.
Some of you have attended the graduations, and if you haven't, I would encourage you, let me know, and we'll make sure you're on the list to attend the next graduation. And that 80% is significant when you're looking at trying to track recidivism numbers when they're going back to where they're from. That keeps that crime rate low, right? And so if we can make sure that they're not coming back here doing those crimes, we can keep that done. One of the things Ian just told me this morning is they just started their first female program in Tarrant County. So we'll be looking at that in the future also to try to make sure that it goes across all spectrums of what we have here.
Wonderful. Does anybody have any questions for Ian or the sheriff? Excuse me, I appreciate it very much. We have several programs that the detention uses to try to reduce recidivism. And if we can, if you tell me 10% are calling you afterwards, I mean, that's a success. I mean, that's 10% that's interested in not repeating. And if we can reduce recidivism by 10%, man, this is money well spent. I mean, money well spent. Ultimately ends up being the most cost-efficient way for us to deal with crime is to convince the inmates there's a different way and there's a better way.
It has been interesting, too, to see the different classes that go through. You get to see them all together during their graduation ceremony and to see how that dynamic of each class develops with each other. And sometimes they're feeding each other, they're encouraging each other. Other times, they're just ready to get out and get on. But there hasn't been a time where someone hasn't spoken in there that says, hey, I found a different way. I found a better way of doing something. I've been doing it this way for so long. Now I've been given a different way of doing it. Hopefully it works. Hopefully they take advice from that.
So the ceremony that I attended, I remember one of the inmates saying that, I'm going to paraphrase here, that it meant a lot to see that people actually cared about them, that they weren't just disposable, that they actually cared.
Yeah, and we actually see that come up in a few different ways. One is just the fact that the jail and the staff is allowing them to participate in this program. And then by bringing in so many different outside speakers, there's a subtle message that look at all these people that left their family, left their job in the middle of the day, in the middle of the week, to show up just to be there to teach them from their own experience. And then the fact that we ask them to stay in touch with them on the outside. The other thing that we find is really important is oftentimes when someone's incarcerated, they may not have a positive view of law enforcement in general. Some of our speakers are retired law enforcement. One of my guys was 25 years with Dallas. He was a special response guy. And at the end of the week, I always ask, and I think you saw me, I always ask them, tell me about the week, and tell me about the speakers. Who was your favorite speaker? Who was their least favorite speaker? Who should we never have back again? About half the time, their favorite speaker is one of the guys that works for me. His name is Steve Oliphant. In fact, he was here with me last year to present. Like I said, he was retired police. They can't believe how much they like him, right? Because they didn't think they would like someone in uniform like that. It's a huge, and we see that across our other program, our Shop Talk program as well, the change in the perspective of the inmates toward law enforcement, and oftentimes the expectation of law enforcement toward the communities they serve. They both change and improves those relationships. I can't prove that incidents didn't happen because of that, right? Because I can't, right? But you can see when it happens, this change of understanding of each other, changing of expectation is really important.
Wonderful. Does anybody have any questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we approve an agreement with One Community USA to provide reentry, diversion, restorative justice, and workforce readiness programming at the Rockwall County Detention Center for a one-year term beginning May 1, 2026. We will pay $46,350 annually, billed at $3862.50 per month using jail commissary funds.
Got a motion by Commissioner Galano.
I'll second that motion.
Second by Commissioner Macklin. Any further questions or comments? If you'll register your votes, it passes 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you all very much.